Okay, so today is Halloween, and this is the mask that I'm wearing today. It's the mask of comedy and tragedy, because I'm laughing on the outside, crying on the inside, and that's what this blog is all about. Since I was a kid, maybe 15 years ago or so, my parents have been buying pumpkins for Halloween, and they carve it out. And my mother would carve it out and put the like the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and we put a hat, my father's pipe. He smoked a pipe years ago, I think before I was born, and then we had all these pipes, but I never saw him smoking a pipe. And then we put a carrot for a nose, we put a flashing light, and I was a kid, it was fun. And my mother would take out all the pumpkin seeds and put them in a pan and put salt, eat the pumpkin. It's the only time I had pumpkin seeds. You can buy them in the store, but it's always fun taking them out of the pumpkin and the smell of the pumpkin. And it's just a part of Halloween and fall and Thanksgiving and autumn and all that fun stuff. So for every year that I can remember, since I was born, I've had a pumpkin every year until this year. Now you're going to say, well, what's the matter with this year? Nobody has any pumpkins? Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. I've had a pumpkin every year as a kid growing up, as a teenager growing up. We'd buy a pumpkin for Halloween. I go to a place called Amy's in Philadelphia, and we'd cut out the top and put it in the window with a flashing light and the costumes. It was a lot of fun. When I got married, I got a pumpkin, and I continued the tradition, like in Fiddle on the Roof, tradition, continued buying a pumpkin every year on Halloween, and then my mother would cut it out, and we'd put in the window with the flashing lights. It was a lot of fun. And then when I moved to Toronto, I continued the tradition. I'd go out and buy a pumpkin, and now Andrea would cut it out, we get one with a stem, and take out the pumpkin seeds and put it in the pan, and make the little nose, and cut the teeth, and put the costumes, the hat, and put it in the window. It was very, very nice. And then we had kids. When Lorna was born, it was fun for Lauren to cut out the pumpkin. We took pictures, and then Jared was born. For all these years, I've been living in Toronto since 1987, 88, 89. Around that time, the kid's born. Lauren is 19 now. We've had pumpkins every year. I can't even tell you how many years have I had pumpkins, except this year. Now you say, well, Dave, if you had a pumpkin every year and you continue the tradition every year, why don't you have a pumpkin this year? Throughout the month of October, I saw the pumpkins coming out, and I saw them at the supermarket. I thought, oh, look at the pumpkins. I'm going to go buy a pumpkin. And as the days go on, I think, well, I get closer to Halloween. Well, three weeks ago, maybe the first week in October, they had some beautiful pumpkins at the supermarket. I think they were $1.99. I thought, $1.99 usually cost me $4, $6, $7 at the fruit store, wherever we get the flower store, $1.99. I actually got one right now. So I picked one up. I picked up a pumpkin. I was carrying it. It was so heavy. And I was getting other things at the supermarket. I said, I can't carry the pumpkin. I'll get it later. So as the weeks went on in October, as the days went on in October, I said, Andrew, we got to buy a pumpkin. We got to buy a pumpkin. She said, oh, you can't buy a pumpkin now. It's going to rot in the house. You can't get it. You got to get it a day before Thanksgiving. You got to get it a day. That's why I don't have a pumpkin. It's Thanksgiving. You got to get it a day before. I was going to say Hanukkah. You got to get it a day before Halloween. You got to get a pumpkin a day before Halloween because it's going to rot in the house. Now I want to ask you a question. So at the month of October, I see pumpkins at everybody's house. Pumpkins, everywhere I drive, I see pumpkins. Everybody has a pumpkin but me. Because my wife says if I buy a pumpkin, it's going to rot in the house. And my question to you is, how come all the pumpkins that I see at everybody's house, every street I'm driving up and down, I don't see rotted pumpkins? But for some reason in my house, the pumpkin's going to rot. Would you please explain that to me? I want you to go to davidbronstein.com and tell me, why are my pumpkins going to rot in my house, but everyone else's houses, they got beautiful pumpkins outside on the steps. Even Jared's friends, Brandon, has beautiful pumpkins outside their steps. Everybody has a pumpkin but me. Because my wife says, oh, if you buy a pumpkin before Halloween, it's going to rot in the house. That's all I want to know. Why my house it rots and nobody else's house is rot? So, like a schmuck, I listen to Andrea like I always do. And when I get stuck up the ass. I always get stuck up the ass when I listen to Andrea. So I didn't buy the pumpkins because I listened to Andrea. And then a few days ago, earlier in the week, even last week, we were with Lauren and Andrea went shopping. I said, today I'm buying a pumpkin. We're all together. I'm going to buy the pumpkin. No, you can't buy the pumpkin. It's going to rot. The pumpkin, you can't get it yet. It's going to rot in the house. I said, why is it going to rot in the house? How come nobody else's house is rotting in? My house is going to rot. You can't get the pumpkin. I'm telling you. It's going to rot. So I didn't buy the pumpkin. Today is Halloween. And I went out this morning. I had to get Lauren matzo ball soup. And then I came home, and I said, oh, I meant to buy a pumpkin. I was out this afternoon. Then it's like she needs the car. She has to get her nails done, her hair, everything. She has things to do, place to go. She has to go. I said, wait, while you're out, get a pumpkin. No, I'm not getting a pumpkin. When I come home, you can get the pumpkin. That's what she says. I said, you're already out. No, I'm not getting the pumpkin. You go get the pumpkin. All right. So she came home, and I went to get the pumpkin, and guess what? There's no pumpkins. There's no more. I couldn't find any more pumpkins. Everyone goes, oh, we're sold out. Are you kidding? We're sold out of pumpkins. The flower store that I drive by 20 times a day, loaded with pumpkins. All of a sudden, they have no pumpkins. Then I went to another flower store, another supermarket, I was driving all around since 5 o'clock. It's now 7. Can't find any pumpkins. Nobody has pumpkins. This is the only year of Halloween that I don't have a pumpkin. I'm like Linus, or Schroeder, no, Linus. The great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I'm Charlie Brown. I'm Linus. I'm in the pumpkin patch. I'm waiting for the great pumpkin to bring me toys. And I watched it this week, too. I have the great pumpkin to bring me toys. I'm missing out on Halloween. I can't believe I missed out on Halloween. Next year, I'm going to have Halloween. I'm Linus in the pumpkin patch. That's who I am. Go to davidbronstein.com and let me know if you're Lucy or Schroeder. Everybody got candy. I didn't even get a rock. I didn't even get a pumpkin. Go to davidbronstein.com. The only year I got a pumpkin, because my wife says it's going to rot in the house. You can't get a pumpkin. Everybody else has pumpkins except me. Why does my house, a pumpkin has to rot? Their house is beautiful pumpkins. My house is rotting. Go to davidbronstein.com, and I want you to commiserate. What would you do? What would you do? It has nothing to do with I'm not blaming Andrea. She says, don't you dare blame me. It's not her fault, she says. I'm not saying it's Andrea's fault. It's my fault for listening to Andrea, like I always do. And every time I listen to Andrea, I get stuck up the ass. So you say, Dave, why are you listening to Andrea? That's the question. Why do I listen to that? Because I forget. I want you to remind me. I want you to call me every day. I want you to email me every day. David, today, don't listen to Andrea. And then everything will be fine. I'll be happy because, as I always tell Andrea, make all the mistakes you want as long as they don't affect me. Everything is fine. Go to davidbronstein.com and tell me, where do I get a pumpkin? This is the only year out of, 125 years that I don't have a pumpkin for Halloween. And why don't I have a pumpkin for Halloween? Because I wanted to buy one for weeks. I'm not buying it today. No, you're not. Why don't I have a pumpkin? Tell me why. Because it's going to rot. The pumpkin's going to rot in the house. That's why I don't have a pumpkin. This is the end of our tradition. Goodbye.